Hello, everyone. I am here to do a new moon Tree of Life reading. And what I basically do is I have a very specific way that I shuffle the cards. And here they are. We're using the Runic Tarot today. And they are all divided into different groups. So we have the Major Arcana, we have the Earth card, we have the Cups and the Wand, Cups and Swords rather, and the Wand card. I had to kind of scrunch them in so everything can fit. But basically, the idea is that the new moon is this time of setting your new intentions and things. So our intention tonight is pulling this Major Arcana card. What is the soul pleasure, the soul purpose for this next lunar cycle? And then we're going to be asking with the Pentacle card, like, what is showing up in our reality that is hindering this soul part or the soul essence to come through? And then through the process of alchemy, we then take the cups and the swords to change that pentacle into the expression of the wands, which is fire or spirit or whatnot. So I'm going to give the cards a quick shuffle, all of them around here. And the way that I do this is on this live video, I will do 5 cards. And then if you're one of the Patreon supporters, I do an additional 5 clarifying cards. So you can consider that. There's a link in the video description. And it's like $3 a month. So it's not like a lot. But if you are interested in that, you can certainly check it out. But 5 cards is still pretty good. It will give you lots of insight. All right. So before we start with that, let me go ahead and ring the crystal ball, just kind of setting the intention and the vibration for the highest and best. As we open the door to communication and healing and the unity of the Holy Spirit, the great I am presence of the universe, we give thanks for we know the word spoken and the experience received is full of your grace, truth, wisdom, love, and understanding of the highest. Amen. Cool. All right, so let's see what we have. So the Major Arcana card we have is the Wheel of Fortune. So, wow, I mean, it's like a lot of possibility already. And the main thing hindering it is the King of Pentacles. So we'll just kind of tell the story as this unfolds, and we'll continue to go with it. So what really, the Wheel of Fortune, there is like unlimited possibility. This is like a blank slate. And it's the moon in Aquarius. And I'm going to read this a little bit. Actually, let me add it here. This is from the pattern. Now that I know what is coming up, I wanted to just show you to you. This is a free application. You can get it on Android. You can get it on, I don't know why I'm showing you the iPad one, like you can see it on the screen now. But anyway, they have these, you put in your birth date information. If other friends are on it, it gives you these cycles and patterns, but it has a whole bunch of information for the new moon. So I just want to read that for you. Today, the moon is in the part of the sky known as Aquarius. It is also the new moon, meaning the moon is directly in between the earth and the sun. The sunlit side is facing away from the sun, so it looks like the moon is gone and the sky is dark. Symbolically, the new moon represents a kind of blank slate and a fresh start for each month. It's important to approach these few days with conscious attention because they will influence the rest of the month for you. Right now, you may feel inspired to stand apart from the crowd and exercise your freedom. Because the new moon is in Aquarius, this month is about rising above the everyday and viewing things more objectively. It's also about an opportunity to tap into higher consciousness. And when you're tapping into higher consciousness, you're talking about like unlimited possibilities. Wheel of Fortune is a very appropriate card for coming up in this new moon in Aquarius. Without worrying about what others think about your beliefs. Now, that goes right in line with our King of Pentacles. Because in the way that I read, the court cards are all soul cards. So the ace is the divine feminine, which is the pulse or pleasure of the soul. The king is the divine masculine, the will of like how that pulse or pleasure like actually plays out. The King of Pentacles tells us that the will of the soul is being hindered by us aligning and agreeing with or making choices based on other people's judgments about us instead of actually our own knowing. So this whole thing is like, in order to bring through like this quality for this new moon, we really got to look at, what other factors are influencing our choices. So very significant. I'll read the rest of this and then we'll see what else we get into with the cards. In general, it could feel like there's a sense of idealism in there. You might feel a need to escape or even rebel. The people around you might be feeling this way too. Now is the time for you to set your intentions for the coming month, especially around themes related to thinking differently and expanding your worldview. Wheel of Fortune, cool. It's a moment to be innovative and creative and to think outside the box. During this entire month, you might also notice that others are operating on more idealistic and possibly less practical plane. This is a great time to engage in philosophical conversations, which might help you bring bring you to a new perspective. Regardless of what anyone else is doing, make sure you follow your own ideals and take your own path. And just a hint, your own path is one that's never been trodden before. You're the trailblazer. If you're following a path, you might just be overlapping with someone else's, eh? If you're not sure what it is, it can be helpful to take time to yourself to think about what is most true for you. This is less of a time of accomplishing things and more time for reflection, planning, and imagining. During this time, it's helpful to ask yourself the following questions. Where in your life are you not seeing the big picture? What is the golden tapestry of the telenovela of your soul? How can you be more free, even within any limitations you might be experiencing? The limitations being the King of Pentacles, like what is being projected, what limitations, where are you holding back your unique voice in this world in favor of somebody else's judgment? Do you attempt to fit in with others and be more normal? I hope not, especially if you're watching my streams. Please tell me you're a weirdo like me. Do you try to hide what's unique about you, or are you ashamed of it? Do you ever prioritize idealistic beliefs and intentions as being more important than practical concerns, or do your practical concerns outweigh your idealism or spirituality? How often do you take time to yourself and give yourself space away from others? Super huge. Sometimes in order to really get in touch with what is going to be the greatest contribution to the soul is just being you, yourself, and your soul, like being really alone. And when it comes to Wheel of Fortune, if you think about the destiny of the soul, there's like a whole spectrum that is possible with that. And like there's no right or wrong to it. So it's like sometimes feeling overwhelming because they're all right paths. There's no right or wrong, but it's all conscious choice, and you just have to start choosing. And sometimes just asking the question, what's going to be the most fun for me? Do you feel like an outsider, or does that no one understands you? How comfortable are you with being experimental or thinking outside the box? How many more are there? Are you able to be completely objective without judgment? And we're not going to do the suggestions now. We'll see if that feels light a little bit later. So let's remove that for now. Back to the reading. So the way that this is going to go now, this is what's showing up that needs to change. And the things that are, okay, so Knight of Cups is it's also a soul card, it's about emotion, but more specifically about feeling in the moment and not getting caught up with triggered emotion. Like sometimes when you're around people, like this King of Pentacles, the people's projections, you could be having like pockets of stagnant energy resonating, like your shadow work, the things that you really need to look at, starting to resonate and feeding and create resonance off of each other. Feeling is in the moment. Feeling is the language of the soul. So really look at what is your feeling of these things. And really that's going to be helping you to follow this impulse of the soul and actually bring it to realization. And then we have Seven of Swords, which is all about like the normal picture. If you're not familiar with it, is a guy picking up a couple swords, leaving a couple swords. It's victory, but it doesn't mean it always has to take all. So don't think that you have to get everything perfect in the expression here. You want to do the best that you can, but also like know that you don't have to have it perfect. It doesn't have to be like, oh, take all, win all type thing. And then finally, oh my gosh, I love it. So it's the Ace of Wands, and Ace is the pure, it's the divine feminine, the way that I read. And the wand one is like, that's the purity of the soul expressed without the hindrances of judgment. So it really goes in line with the King of Pentacles and everything. So what I'd like to do now, I'm just going to give 3 taps to the crystal ball, anchor the information that's received. If you're on the Patreon, I'm going to continue the stream there, and we're going to do 5 more cards just for clarifying. And other than that, let's see what we can just anchor in. Just allowing the information, the inspiration to go deep within you. What would it take for you to fully actualize your unlimited potential as an infinite being? And everything that wouldn't allow that, all these things, these King of Pentacles, the other people's judgments and considerations, projections and conclusions, what would it take to just push through that and to still choose you? So thank you so much. And I love you all. I'll go ahead and just play a little video. I do this on the new and full moons, or at least close to them. I try to do it right on time, but sometimes time-wise it just doesn't work out. So I'm doing it a little bit early this time around. But if you are interested, I will be doing that on the new moon too. This is available on my YouTube channel. I'm not sure where you're watching it. We're streaming to like 7 different locations, but they're always archived on YouTube. And I will catch you next time. Okay, so for my patrons, thank you for sticking around. And we're going to be pulling 5 more cards that are, um, what was the word I was looking for? 5 more clarifying cards that will give us a little bit more information around the Knight and the Seven of Swords. So, first one, we have the King of Cups. So, this is really interesting because this is the will of the soul, this is the feeling in the moment, the feeling of the soul. And we also have the Six of Cups, which is all about, gifting people what they can receive. Like we sometimes really want people to change. Sometimes we really want uh, to be able to gift everything, the totality of who we are. But the Six of Cups says, you have to bend love sometimes in order to be received. So this would be a message that, as we're looking for the will of the soul to really come through, how do we speak our truth? How do we express our beingness in the world, but catering it so that it can be received by the most people, so it can be inspirational to the most people? So that's what this is about. And then for the swords, we have the Page of Swords, which is about action. And we have, looks like I have to move my bowl a little bit here. Let's get that out of the way. And we have the Four of Swords as well. And the swords, the Four of Swords, it's all about asking you shall receive, Where's the other card? Here we go. Asking you shall receive, and just being willing to receive from the universe is a huge part of that. But also with all the actions, really asking, like when you're thinking about something, when you're about to take the action, is this action in alignment with what I'm actually trying to manifest in the world? I'm brushing up on my runes. So like for you guys, I'll like look these up. Runes was my first divination tool like years ago in high school. And we're just going to look up a couple of them. So for the soul card, let's see what it tells us here. You guys can help me learn more as we go here. Actually, I think I'm streaming to the wrong spot. Oh no. Oh, it is public. I will start this a second time here because I don't want it to go to that channel.